Hello again, it's Yagi-san, and my car window broke. I heard the ka-chunk, and I knew that my glass was no longer able to go up and down safely. I could tell that the thing was broke in the inside of the door. I forget, it's like an actuator or something. I don't know. I'm not a car person per se. I wish I had a classic car, but that's besides the point. It's besides the point. This is what happens when you're just you're broke and something dumb happens and you gotta take your car to the mechanic. But I have a good mechanic office, and so I went there first thing in the morning, and they have a dog. They have a dog at the office, and it's kind of cool. It's like a little dog runs around, really sweet little cinnamon bear. Anyway, and then I was sitting next to a boomer lady. And she wasn't really the problem. Actually, she was one of the more sweeter boomers. I'll give credit where credit's due. She didn't say anything off-putting, really. I think she was like a northern gal who went to California for a while, and then I don't know, maybe a little bit on the liberal side. I don't know. I don't know. However, we're sitting there having a good time, talking about the dog and talking about my dogs and just having actually kind of a decent conversation. I don't even know her name because we were just gabbing, and this boomer gentleman comes in, and he immediately goes, "Sorry to interrupt you, ladies," which he wasn't. He wasn't sorry. He just wanted to rant about his life. So he starts saying, I'm probably not gonna like explain this very well, but long story short, he interjects into our conversation and says stuff about solar panels. And I'm trying to follow, but he interrupted our conversation, and he seemed irritated that I was trying to follow what he was saying. Like, I'm just some idiot because I don't know about solar or whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to follow what he's talking about. It's like, if you wanted to just talk to the older boomer lady, you should have just talked to the older boomer lady and told me to shut the f up, and I'll just I'll just go f myself. I'll just like, okay, bye. I'll just be over here. Anyway, so he's saying, of course, he's saying how he has this house that he rented out, and him and his wife went somewhere else while they were renting out the house. Because, of course, they have two houses. Of course, they have two houses. Probably have three houses. Anyway, he was at a different house, and he rented this one out for a couple of years, he said. So he goes back to it, and I'm thinking, you haven't been back for this long? Anyway, he says he goes back, and there's these solar panels in his yard. Like in his backyard where he used to like sip on his coffee in the morning and watch his back field or whatever. And I was sympathetic to that. It's like, I wouldn't want people to put a bunch of solar panels up. But anyway, he's like, oh, that's how he started the conversation. He was like, did you know they just passed this legislation? They don't do solar panel, blah, 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 blah. And he was all excited that they're passing this legislation for something about solar. So I guess they're not going to be putting as many of these panels up, or maybe they can't do them in like areas that affect people. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know about solar panels. Some of it sounds cool. And then, like the homesteading aspect of it, like a couple of solar panels that like make small things go. I don't know much about solar panels. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a solar panel person. But the guy was getting irritated with me when I was trying to like follow, and it was not cool. It was like I felt really dumb. I felt talked down to, and it was not. It was just not cool. And I was trying to be empathetic with him, which you shouldn't do with boomers because you always get hurt. You always get hurt. They always gotta show you up, show like one up you, and make you feel dumb. So anyway, he says that he comes back and there's these solar panels. I guess he kicked his renters out and he was gonna live in his little house again. I don't know. I don't know. And he's upset that there's these solar panels. And then he starts talking about how nuclear energy is so clean and da 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 and like kills so less people than or something, like it's less dangerous. And then he's talking about how the byproduct of nuclear power, which I thought was nuclear waste, but he says it cures like 2 different cancers. And I'm just like, okay, QAnon, when are you going to talk about the med beds? You know, when are you going to bring those up? And the white hats that are coming to save us and blah, 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 blah. It's just the Kabbalists. It's just the Kabbalists. Ah. It's the globalist. But we won't say the J word. No. So anyway, this boomer is talking about solar. And he was a real jerk off. He was a jerk off. He was a jerk off, jerk off, jerk off, jerk off. And it was not fun to feel talked down to. And like when this guy's got to sit here and interrupt these 2 ladies having a nice conversation. I was actually having a nice conversation. Oh, my phone. Oh no. I'm waiting on a phone call for my kitty cat because she got the boogers again and I need to get him her medicine. My poor little baby. The weather's changing. The weather's changing. And I guess cats feel it too. Anyway, so, So I get my car fixed, and then like I find out that some of these people are like my neighbors, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm meeting some of my neighbors, and I'm finding a little bit of history on my property and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. That was like kind of a nice time. But of course, some boomer had to come in and start talking about all this crazy stuff with solar and nuclear, and it's like they're all experts on all these things. And I'm just like, okie dokie, yeah, okay, boomer. Okay, boomer. So I got my car fixed, and I went home. End of story. That was it. That's all I want to talk about. Boomers are a pain in the butt. Also, I know jack about med beds. I don't know anything about that. So. Alright, bye.